And welcome both. Actually, what that introduction rather ignored is the big development of the last hour, which has happened up in Hartlepool, where Nigel Farage says overnight his conscience was pricked by an announcement from Boris Johnson that has made Nigel Farage realise that he should only be, or he should be standing down 317 candidates who are going to contest Conservative seats. Yasmin, what do you make of that? How selfless has Nigel Farage been?
I don't think he's being selfless. I think he didn't expect the reactions he got when he made that, I'm Nigel Farage, I'm going to fight every seat. And all the papers, especially, who've been his friends, turned on him. And I think, he's smart enough to know that this level of self-regard and ambition for his party wasn't going to work. So I think he's made a strategic decision, and it will make it much harder for the remaining side.
Jonathan, Daily Mail on Saturday, front page, email these Brexit candidates. There was obviously a lot of media pressure, but also people like Gisela Stewart, for instance, yesterday. Such an important Labour voice in the Leave campaign during the referendum. That had to weigh on Nigel Farage's mind.
It certainly did, and I certainly look at my inbox that I've been getting every day at Brexit Central over the last couple of weeks to see that there were huge numbers of Brexit supporters out in the country who feared that if Nigel Farage and the Brexit Party did stand in every single seat, that they could well be the party that caused Brexit not to happen at all, which would obviously be the worst possible result for this election, to see some kind of Remain coalition result at the end of it. Clearly what he's done, he said he's done in the national interest, putting country before party, and I think Brexiteers need to applaud him for making that move. Although it's worth pointing out that the logic that he put forward, that standing against all those Conservative MPs potentially might allow Lib Dems or Remain backing Labour MPs to win those seats in their place, also applies to a lot of the marginal Labour or Lib Dem seats where the Conservatives are chasing closely behind, because we saw the Delta poll numbers at the weekend that showed that the Brexit Party, where they would be standing, will be taking more votes from the Conservatives than the other parties. So there is still a danger that there are marginal Labour or Lib Dem seats, very strong Remain backing MPs, who have got the Brexit Party standing against them, who might yet split the Brexiteer vote between the Brexiteers and the Conservatives and still let that Remain backing MP remain in place. And I think a lot of Brexiteers will be concerned about that. That said, there clearly are also about 30 or 40 or 50 Labour seats in the north of England, in the Midlands, and a few in South Wales, where the Conservatives, let's be frank, have absolutely no chance on paper, where I think most Conservative Brexiteers will be very happy to allow Nigel Farage and his party to go full pelt after those MPs.
You wonder, don't you, Yasmin, whether this is perhaps the first instalment of a retreat by Nigel Farage, if the psephologists start to crunch the numbers, as Jonathan suggests, and say actually in those marginal Labour Leave seats in the north of England and the Midlands, where the Tories have to do well if they're to win a commanding majority in the House of Commons, whether actually he may yet do a further retreat.
He may do a further retreat, but Jonathan's really cheered me up here, without intending to. I'm sure that, that the Remain side, this is just one small chapter of a big saga that's unfolding over the next few weeks. The voting population is volatile. The polls are all over the place, so we don't know what the result will be, and I hope it isn't Brexit. I've always said that, and I'll continue to say that. But where it makes it very difficult for the Labour Party is they have been trying to please both sides for a very long time. I think they will. I mean, the thing that Farage said just last year, he wanted a second referendum. Today he says, oh, no, the worst thing would be a second referendum. So he is almost as unreliable as Boris Johnson. Two really very unreliable men prone to lying are leading this. But at the same time, strategically, I am worried that they will pull it off.
OK. Jonathan, there you go. You can have your lunch with a smile on your face now. You know you've made Yasmin Alibhai Brown very happy this lunchtime. On that question of whether this is the first instalment in an ongoing narrative of Nigel Farage saying, actually, I'm bowing to pressure, could you see him perhaps modifying his position further?
Look, we'll see. I mean, there's only 2 or 3 days left. Nominations close on the 14th of November, which is this Thursday, and that's the point at which we'll see where the nomination papers have been put in. It wouldn't surprise me if, given today's announcement, there will be perhaps some individual candidates in individual seats for the Brexit Party who decide they don't want to pursue a fight in a seat where they might split the vote and hand the seat possibly to remain in a Remainer hands, but we shall see.
Jonathan Isaby, Yasmin Alibhai Brown, thanks both very much indeed. Thanks a lot.